Hey guys, in this lesson, we are just going to talk about linear inequalities. We're not going to worry about compound inequalities. I'm going to put that in on the next lesson. So we're just in lesson 2.4. So what is the difference between an equation and equality? You just have to be a little bit more careful with inequalities because when you multiply or divide by negative number, the sign flips. So we are going to see that, let's just say starting in this one. So the first one, or the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 5. And then I'm dividing by negative 2. So I'm doing that. So I'm dividing by negative 2. That cancels. And so I'm going to say x is less than or equal to negative 1. So we're flipping that sign. Okay, it also says to write an interval notation. So I'm going to I know this is not interval notation. So I'm going to show this on a number line just to kind of review. So if I were like in middle school, I would say close dot on -1 and arrow going to the left. But interval notation says where does it begin and where does it end. So this begins in negative infinity and it ends at -1. Now it touches -1, so it's going to be a bracket. If it didn't touch it, it would be another set of parentheses. Okay, so the tricky part about number 2 is that it's all in fractions. So we're going to practice this. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the LCM, the least common multiple of 3, 2, and 6. So hopefully you can see, I'm going to erase this, that the least common multiple is 6 because 3 goes into 6, 2 goes into 6, and 6 goes into 6. So I'm going to multiply each thing by 6. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. So I'm going to have 2x. And then 6 divided by 2 is 3. Or we can look at it as half of 6 is 3. And then these cancel, and I'm left with -11. But now this isn't too bad. So I'm going to subtract the 3 and divide by 2. And notice I'm not dividing by a negative number, so that sign is going to stay the same. Even though it's negative, that's okay. So I'm going to do the same thing here. So we have -7. So I would have an open dot on 7 and arrow going to the left. But that's not what it's asking. It's asking for interval notation. So the interval notation for that would be, where does it begin? Negative infinity. Where does it end? -7. This time it's parentheses because it's an open dot. Okay, so this one is kind of the same thing. So I'm going to multiply by the LCM of 4. So this cancels out to 2, but this time I'm going to keep like what's on top in parentheses. So it's going to look like that. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. These 4's cancel out. But this again is in parentheses. Be careful with that because we're going to have to distribute that. We have 2y minus 6. So it's going to be plus 5. So 2y minus 6 is greater than 7 minus y. Okay, so I'm going to add y to both sides, and I will add 6 to both sides. So notice I'm not multiplying or dividing, so I don't have to worry about flipping the sign. And divide by 3. So I get y is greater than 13/3. So again, this kind of helps me visualize it. So open dot on 13/3, arrow go to the right. So where does it begin? And where does it end? Okay, so go ahead and try 4 and 5 on your own. Okay, so for both of these, the variables canceled out, and so we were left with 6 is less than or equal to 9, and then over here we had -4 is less than -3. So what you're going to do is you're going to ask yourself, are these expressions true or false? So this one is true. because 6 is less than or equal to 9. And so in that case, our answer would be the set of all reals, or you could say negative infinity to positive infinity. But this one, that's not true. Okay, so I'm goofy. This is true. So you would have the same answer. But let's pretend that I'm going to erase this. And so what if I changed it to -4 is greater than -3? So in that case, that would be false. And so my answer would be no solution. So just kind of be careful on that. Okay, let's go to number 6, and this is our last one of the lesson. So in order to receive a loan, you must spend less than 12,550. So like whatever's going to come over here is going to be less than that. Okay, the tax is 4.5%, and the title licensing fee is $43. So solve and write an inequality that represents the total cost of the car. So think about what we're doing. So we're buying this car. We're buying this car for $12,550, and so we're going to have to pay taxes on that. So we're going to have that, and then once we have that, we're going to have a $43 fee. So it has to be, well, we don't know. Sorry, we don't know the price of this car. It has to be less than $12,550 because that's all we have. So I'm going to say X. And then think about this. So we have the total price of the car, and then we're going to add on the total price plus 0.04225. So I look at this as that, and then we're going to have $43 fee. So if that hurts your head, think about it, the price of the car plus the price of the car times 0.04225, however you want to think about it, plus 43 is less than. So either one of these, however you see that, is just fine. We're eventually going to end up here anyway. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is subtract 43. So I'm going to kind of clean this up a little bit. So I have 1.04225x is less than, and so once I subtracted the $43, it's going to be $12,500. So I'm going to divide by this interest. Notice I'm dividing by negative numbers, so the sign stays the same. And so it is going to be exactly $12,000. So the price of the car by itself, so remember up here, this was like all the taxes and fees and everything. So the price of the car itself has to be less than 12,000. So now you can set your budget there. Okay, that is it, guys.